Hi, this is Daniel DiTuro. Do you believe state and federal governments should eliminate all business regulations? In this video, I'll share what are regulations, why have rules and regulations, the high cost of deregulation, and deregulation benefits businesses, not consumers. Regulations are laws, standards, and rules maintained by a government or private organization. Examples of government regulations include the Clean Air Act and Clean Water Act. Regulations assure the safety of foods, beverages, and cosmetics. An example of private regulations is the National Electric Code, used to wire private and public buildings. Many conservative politicians believe government should not regulate private businesses. Their rationale for deregulation includes reducing product prices, increasing productivity, creating jobs, reducing waste, and increasing innovation. In many cases, the rationale for deregulation is a myth. Businesses save money, while consumers pay more. Rules and regulations are everywhere. They protect people and property. Like ships having enough lifeboats to evacuate all passengers and crew. Requiring smoke detectors in new homes and sprinkler systems in commercial buildings. Most Americans don't realize that a fire occurs about every 23 seconds. There's an estimated 1.4 million reported fires, causing over 15,000 injuries, 3,000 deaths, and an estimated $22 billion in property damage. Streets and roads have speed limits to protect drivers, passengers, and pedestrians. And yet, there are over 30,000 road deaths a year. The 1938 Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act gave the U.S. FDA the authority to regulate food, drug, and cosmetic safety. Prior to the 1938 legislation, cosmetic manufacturers could use toxic substances like lead and mercury in cosmetics. If you knew what was in hot dogs and other prepared foods prior to 1938, you'd never eat prepared foods again. 84 years after passing the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, there are still concerns about food, drug, and cosmetic safety. Much of the U.S. food supply is imported from countries with little or no safety regulations. In a perfect world, there would be no need for regulations. People and businesses would do what is moral and right. But we do not live in a perfect world. We live in a world where profit and greed often supersedes ethics. In a world where money and power mean more than morals. Conservative politicians want to cut government spending by allowing businesses to regulate themselves. After all, companies are in business to serve customers. Millions of Americans buy foods like meat, fish, and poultry, trimmed and packaged. One assumes the net weight on the package is an accurate weight of the product. But is that really the case? Most Americans do not own a kitchen scale, so they cannot verify product weights. For my cooking videos, I needed accurate weights to calculate nutrition information. In 2014, I found this package of chicken breasts weighed 3.3 pounds, not 3.8 pounds. That meant the cost was not $1.77 per pound, but $2.04 per pound. After a second package produced the same results, I filed a complaint with the Department of Weights and Measures. Their inspectors confirmed content weights were off by 1/2 pound. If 2,700 stores sold 10 packages per store per day, it could increase profits by almost $15 million a year. The same department also checks the accuracy of gasoline pumps. In February 2021, many Texans discovered the high cost of deregulation when a severe winter storm shut down all utilities. After electric power was restored, customers on low-rate plans were shocked to receive bills ranging from $5,000 to $8,000 for 1 week of electricity. I live in central Arizona, where air conditioning is essential about 7 months a year, and utilities are regulated. My total annual utility costs averaged $1,700 over the past 14 years. Texans were promised deregulation guaranteed competition and low energy prices. The legislation deregulating the utility industry had no safeguards against astronomical utility bills. Conservative politicians insist the American food supply is one of the safest in the world and should be deregulated. The result is fewer FDA and USDA food inspectors. Instead of guaranteeing safe, fresh, and frozen foods, consumers are warned to thoroughly cook all foods to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. How often do you verify the center of frozen meals have reached 165 degrees? This meal was cooked according to package directions. Is it unsafe to eat? Even organically grown foods have food safety warnings. An estimated 48 million Americans a year become ill and 3,000 die from the U.S.'s safe food supply chain. Zero-regulation politicians place the blame on consumers and restaurants. Instead of serving safe food, restaurants warn eating undercooked foods may be hazardous to your health. Several years ago, hundreds of people became seriously ill after eating contaminated frozen pot pies. The maker eventually recalled the pies while insisting they were safe when cooked per package directions. But cooking times are based on using an 1100 watt or more microwave oven. Most U.S. consumer microwave ovens are 700 to 1000 watts. So this and other frozen meals are not made for consumer microwave ovens. Neither are they made to be cooked in toaster ovens. And yet, every day, millions of people cook frozen meals using 700 to 1000 watt microwave ovens. And they do not check that the food reached an internal temperature of 165 degrees. In addition to safe food, people need clean air and water. Before the Clean Air Act, there were few restrictions on pollutants being dumped into the air. Without air quality regulations, more people would develop asthma, emphysema, and other lung diseases. Even with current air pollution regulations, thousands of deaths a year are attributed to poor air quality. Good for drug makers and sellers, bad for people with breathing problems. Without water quality regulations, more people would die from polluted drinking water. Americans have forgotten rivers on fire due to toxic waste, and lakes too polluted for fishing or swimming. Even with one of the safest drinking water supplies in the world, Americans spend billions of dollars a year on bottled water. Contaminated drinking water causes over 7 million illnesses a year, 600,000 emergency department visits, over 6,000 deaths, and $3.3 billion in healthcare costs. I've shared a few examples how businesses profit by lax or no regulations. For most people, a house is their biggest investment. A well-built house should not require any major repairs for decades. Americans are paying higher prices for lower quality products. Many homes have 30-inch wide, over-the-range microwave ovens. They can last from 1 to 10 years. Most consumers are not aware that every model can have a unique mounting hole pattern. Unlike the Visa standards for flat-screen televisions, each over-the-range microwave oven model can have unique bolt hole patterns and wall mount bracket designs. The same is true for all built-in appliances like ovens and cooktops. The U.S. has two standard cabinet widths, 30 and 36 inches. Most cooktops and wall ovens are designed to fit in 30 and 36-inch wide cabinets. You may think that all 30 and 36-inch wall ovens and cooktops are interchangeable. The U.S. has no regulations or standards for 100% interchangeability. Like over-the-range microwave ovens, wall oven and cooktop cutouts vary by brand and by models within a brand. And manufacturers can use non-standard units like 4/9, 1/7, and 1/3. Appliance makers cut costs, while consumers pay extra for cabinet and countertop modifications. Like the Visa standard for wall-mounted televisions, standards for over-the-counter microwave ovens, cooktops, and wall ovens can be voluntary. Consumers can then decide whether or not to buy interchangeable or non-interchangeable appliances. Without regulations, builders can exaggerate a house's energy efficiency. They can claim walls have an R value ranging from 19 to 26. But R values are for insulated walls. A thermal analyst told me, every window is like punching a hole in the wall. There are building codes for minimum window size per room area. But many builders go beyond the minimum code requirement to make rooms light and bright. This humidifier claims to produce up to 120 hours of mist. The owner's manual requires daily tank cleaning. 120 hours of mist is reduced to 24 hours. Thanks to an unregulated electronics industry, instead of specifying sensor sizes in inches and millimeters, you get sensor sizes like 1/2.3 inches and 1-inch type. A 1-inch sensor is 24 millimeters wide. A 1-inch type sensor is only 12 millimeters wide. So why do manufacturers use 1-inch type instead of 0.5-inch wide? Without regulating sensor dimensions, companies can mislead consumers into thinking a low-cost camera has a large sensor. Conservative politicians campaign to repeal needless government regulations that will save consumers money. When politicians promise to eliminate costly government regulations, are they benefiting you or their corporate sponsors? Think about it. Please leave a comment if you have any questions about this video. Thank you for watching.